Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the festival celebrating Lord Ramchandra, his appearance. So, I thought we could start by reading a few verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is Canto 2, entitled, just one moment here, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, and this is Chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations, Text 23. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Hare Krishna. Well, that's good too. I was saying Hare Krishna, one particular individual, but you could repeat Hare Krishna over and over and over again. It's a very good idea. Just keep on doing that. Prabhupada said chant as much as possible. He said if you have any free time, don't waste it, chant Hare Krishna. That's what Prabhupada said. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'll just chant the Sanskrit and then I'll read the English. Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya kalesha ikshvaku vamsa avatirya guru nideshe Tishtan vanam sadayatanuja avivesha yasmin varudha dashakandara artim archat. All right, so this is a translation. Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasarat, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful, with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished. So this is Prabhupada's purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 7, the Lord appears when there are discrepancies in the discharge of factual religion. Lord Ramchandra also appeared under the same circumstances, accompanied by his brothers, who are expansions of the Lord's internal potency, and by Lakshmi Ji, Sita Devi. Lord Ramchandra was ordered by his father, Maharaj Dasarat, to leave home for the forest under awkward circumstances. And the Lord, as the ideal son of his father, carried out the order, even on the occasion of his being declared the king of Ayodhya. One of his younger brothers, Lakshmanji, desired to go with him, and so also his eternal wife, Sita Ji, desired to go with him. The Lord agreed to both of them, and altogether they entered the Dandakaranya forest, to live there for 14 years. During their stay in the forest, there was some quarrel between Ramchandra and Ravana, and the latter kidnapped the Lord's wife, Sita. The quarrel ended in the vanquishing of the greatly powerful Ravana, along with all his kingdom and family. Sita is Lakshmi Ji, or the goddess of fortune, but she is never to be enjoyed by any living being. She is meant for being worshipped by the living being along with her husband, Sri Ramchandra. A materialistic man, materialistic man like Ravan does not understand this great truth, but on the contrary, he wants to snatch Sita Devi from the custody of Ram and thus incurs great miseries. The materialists who are after opulence and material prosperity may take lessons from the Ramayana that the policy of exploiting the nature of the Lord without acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord is the policy of Ravana. Ravana was very advanced materially, so much so that he turned his kingdom Lanka into pure gold, or full material wealth. But because he did not recognize the supremacy of Lord Ramchandra and defied him by stealing his wife, Sita, Ravana was killed, and all his opulence and power were destroyed. Lord Ramchandra is a full incarnation with 6 opulences in full, and he is therefore mentioned in this verse as Kalasheha, or master of all opulence. Turn the lights up. Oh, really? It doesn't look like that, huh? I'll just Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karidvachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitarinam Vancha Kapdiribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So just read the verse again. Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasarath, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished. Hare Krishna. Oh, you made it, Mukunda. Hare Krishna. So, many of us here are familiar with the pastime or history of Lord Ramchandra and Lakshman and Sita and all the other personalities within the historical account. And it's interesting enough is that although so many of us have heard this many times within our lives, maybe some of you from your early childhood, still it remains ever fresh, or it remains enlivening. It doesn't become stale or old. Srila Prabhupada gave the example that every Sunday, New York and many other cities all out throughout the world, they produce a newspaper. And Srila Prabhupada was saying that the newspapers, he was exaggerating or joking, but he's saying the newspaper is so heavy you could hardly carry it. Yes, you agree? Okay, good. But he went on to say that although it's produced every Sunday, people read it once and then they throw it away. That's it. They read it once and they throw it away. They don't want to. They don't want to see it anymore. They don't want to read it anymore. They don't want anything to do with it. And he goes on in the example that, or in this particular what he is talking about, Srila Prabhupada, he says that, but the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or Ramayana, it's been read for hundreds and thousands of years, and still people, they keep on reading it. And that's a fact that one can read the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or any authentic spiritual literature and keep on reading it throughout their lifetime and gaining inspiration. So this goes to show that the nature of the subject is quite different than, means the nature of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other such books is different from just ordinary knowledge, and what to speak of the news of this world. And what's the difference? The difference is that one gains that enlivenment, that spiritual enlivenment. So again, last year we talked about Lord Ramchandra, and maybe throughout the year, hopefully, we thought of him and talked to him. And yeah, we've been doing that for years, decades, some of us. So this is some proof. So within this account, Ravana, whose name means one who makes others cry. One who makes others cry. So, it's an interesting name, huh? So Ravana, he heard about Sita, and Ravana being very materialistic, very not self-controlled, thinking that everything and everyone is for his enjoyment, his exploitation. He heard about Sita and he said, okay, well, I need another queen, he thought. And specifically, he wanted to make her the principal queen, means the first and foremost queen, because he already had quite a few. So hearing this, he went to the forest where Sita was residing, and Ram and Lakshman, and through trickery, Ravana and his Maricha, Maricha took the form of a deer, a golden deer. So this was one of his men, who, interesting enough, is that when Ravana asked Maricha to take the form of a deer, so Sita will become attracted and then send Ram out to get the deer, so then Sita could be alone eventually, and then Ravana could snatch her. Before this all happened, Maricha, he said to Ravana, he said, in essence, you're a fool. and that if you do this, if you snatch Sita, Ramchandra's wife, you're going to pay for it, and you're going to die. You're going to be killed. And he said that Ramchandra, he defeats everybody. He'll defeat the higher beings, the demigods. He'll defeat anybody and everybody, Ramchandra. So Maricha is saying you shouldn't do this, but Ravana said, no, I want you to do this, and I want to do this. So he went with the plan. And Maricha was thinking that, well, because eventually he's actually killed by Ramchandra, so he says, better I die by the hands of Ramchandra than Ravana. So at least I'll get some benefit. So he went along with the plan. So Maricha went there, and then Sita became attracted. She sent Ramchandra out. And then eventually Ramchandra was trying to catch Maricha the deer, but he couldn't. So it said that he said, okay, well, at least I could catch on some level. So he actually, with an arrow, shot the deer, Maricha. And the deer, so these are all mystic things. So the deer actually began to talk, and he started to call out Ram's name. Or no, he tried to call out Sita and Lakshman's name. So the deer was calling out. So then Sita, she thought that, oh, this is Ram and he's hurt. He's in the forest. So she told Lakshman, go see what's going on with him, with your brother, Ramchandra. And then Lakshman, he senses that actually this is just a trick. So he tells Sita that in essence he doesn't want to do it. And then she, interesting enough, she starts accusing him of being, it's pretty heavy accusations actually. She starts saying that, oh, you just want your brother dead and you want to enjoy me. She was saying things like that. And Lakshman was very upset about it because, he didn't want to do that. It was his brother and it's his brother's wife, and that was not even the last thing he wanted. He didn't want to do it at all. So eventually Sita, she gets Lakshman to go out into the forest to see what's going on. So then at that point, Lakshman's gone, Ram's gone, and Sita's by herself. So then Ravana comes up, and he's dressed as a sannyasi. He's dressed as like a a yogi or a meditator or a monk. He goes up to her. And yeah, I was reading it earlier, and he's just, it's he's absolutely trying to flatter her, remarking on her beauty, on her physical beauty. It's almost, anyways, it's almost like you would see something like nowadays within the world, but kind of more cultured. But I thought it was quite strange because, he was dressed as a sannyasi. And he's practically trying to seduce her. So interesting enough, as Sita says, she says, "Okay, I could feed you lunch," and she's sitting there talking with him, and then she starts to explain herself, who is her father, and so on, and how she's the wife of Ram. And then eventually Ravana, he begins to lose it, and he just says, in essence, "Forget about Ram, come with me. I have this palace. You'll have, thousands of servants, and everything's made out of gold." He was trying to seduce her to come with him. And she was saying, no, no, no. And eventually the tension builds up, and Ravana just absolutely loses it. So he casts off his garb as a sannyasi, and he manifests these 10 heads and however many arms and sharp teeth, and he's just threatening her, and he just grabs her by the hair, says with his left hand. Grabs her with the hair by the left hand, and then he takes her on his chariot. He has a charioteer driver. Apparently he has some mules. They're carrying them somehow. So they're off, and they're going. So he snatched her. And then when he snatched her, there was one bird in a tree. It was a vulture. And this bird, it said that the bird was sleeping, an elderly bird by the name of Jatayu. So Jatayu had parental affection for Ramchandra, and he had parental affection for Sita and Lakshman. Means he treated them like he was like their father, with great affection. So he saw this, that Ravana kidnapped Sita and was taking her in the chariot. So then Jatayu, he was thinking, how am I ever going to let this? How am I going to let this happen? So he actually went up to Ravana, he was far more younger and stronger than Jatayu, although Jatayu was a seasoned fighter. And he started to preach or lecture Ravana, just like in Krishna book when Vasudeva, right? He lectures. Devaki's husband lectures Kamsa, because Kamsa is about to kill Devaki. So it works. But in this particular case, Jatayu was trying to preach or lecture Ravana, and it wasn't working. He was just not even paying attention to him. He was saying, "You're such a, this is against religious principles, you're snatching somebody's wife," and he just wasn't listening, he was just going. So then Jatayu, it said that he increased his insults. He said that you're a coward, and you're taking this woman when her husband's not present. You're a coward. And still Ravana was just going. He was really going crazy, Ravana. So he keeps on going, and then Jatayu says, "Okay, fine. Now I have to resort to the last thing." And he said, "That's attack. I have to attack him." So he started to attack Ravana. So it said that he started to attack his body, and then with his beak, he put his beak in the hair of Ravana and was dragging him around. He's actually quite strong, Jatayu. And it said that Ravana was feeling embarrassed. And the reason he's feeling embarrassed because he was trying to impress Sita, with his chariot and whatever. On some level he's trying to impress Sita. But it's embarrassing. He's being defeated right there in front of her. So that's what was happening. And then Jatayu thinks to himself that first I have to immobilize Ravana. So he attacks the mules, his mules, and he kills all of them. He kills the charioteer, the driver, and he completely smashes the chariot, Jatayu. So then Ravana and Sita, they fall to the ground, and Ravana's holding on to Sita, and Sita's very emotional about all this. So they're there, and then Jatayu is up in the air, and he actually comes down, and he lops off one of Ravana's arms. But you know what happens to his arm? It grows right back. It's quite surprising. I mean, you can imagine, and it just goes right back. So then they're shooting arrows at each other. Ravana's shooting arrows, and Jatayu's attacking. And then Ravana starts to notice that Jatayu is getting tired, because he's elderly, he's getting tired. So then Ravana thinks to himself, okay, this is my opportunity. So then what he does is with his sword, he gets his sword, and then he cuts off one of the wings of Jatayu. And then he cuts off the other wing, and then Jatayu just falls to the ground. There's blood everywhere. And then Ravana just takes off with Sita. So Jatayu, he's laying there on the ground in agony, in pain, and he's chanting Ram's name. Ram's name. So then Ramchandra and Lakshman, they're looking for Sita still in the forest. So then they see this being, this vulture, this bird. It doesn't mention how big he is, and he's completely mutilated, so they don't recognize him, Jatayu. So then, interesting enough is that Ramchandra, he actually pulls out his bow, and he's getting ready to shoot Jatayu. It's quite a test, huh? You give your life, and then so pulls out and then they hear him chanting Ram. So then Lakshman and Ramchandra, they go closer to them, and they see that it's Jatayu. And then Jatayu tells Ramchandra that Ravana stole Sita. I tried to fight him off. I tried to kill him. I tried my best, and it wasn't successful. But she left. And all along he was chanting Ram's name, and it said that Jatayu actually left his body in the lap of Lord Ramchandra while chanting Ramchandra's name and looking at him. So, although he was, you could say, on some level unsuccessful, at least materially, or whatever, however you want to see it, about capturing Sita from Ravana, but he was successful ultimately because he was Krishna conscious or Ram conscious, Ramchandra conscious. So he reached the goal of life. So I thought that was nice. So he was willing to give his life for his Lord and Master Ramchandra and Sita. He was willing to give his life. So this is spiritual consciousness, that they're willing to give their life for something, a good cause, means for Krishna, the best cause. Not that, for materialistic people, sometimes they're so, like Ravana, so attached to his wealth, so attached to his money, it's questionable whether he would like his life or his money more. And apparently there was I heard it from some friend of mine. He said that there was some guy, and the guy was holding him up. He was with a gun. He was holding him up with a gun, and he said, your life or your money? And he's pointing the gun at him. Your life or your money? So then the guy was hesitating, who was being held up, He was hesitating. And then the guy who was holding him up, who had the gun to him, he said, why are you hesitating? This is serious, your life or your money. And he kept on hesitating. So he asked him, why are you hesitating? And then the man said, well, I'm thinking whether I should give my life or I should give my money. So some people are really attached. Ravana was really attached. So then eventually Hanuman, he hears about all of this, and Ravana's threatening Sita. He's saying, if you don't become my principal wife within 12 months, he said, I'm going to it's actually quite horrible. He said, I'm going to chop you up, and I'm going to give you to my cooks, and I'm going to have you for breakfast. That's what he said to her. So he's threatened her heavily, and she was always remaining chaste. She wasn't giving in. So Hanuman heard about this, and eventually he made his way to Lanka. He didn't take an airplane. He jumped. He made his way to Lanka, and there's a whole scene that happens there. There's actually a nice, he starts singing poetry about Ramchandra, and then she hears it, and then she realizes that, oh, this is a devotee of Ramchandra. Hanuman comes to Sita. Sita gives him a ring to give back to Ramchandra to know that they actually met. And then somehow or other, Ravana and his crew, they catch Hanuman, and they want to kill him first of all. But then they're convinced by Vibhishana that you shouldn't kill him. You should just light his, Ravana, they came up with this idea, you just light his tail on fire. And then that's what they did. They lit the tail on fire, and he jumped all over Lanka. First of all, he escaped, he shrank down, and then he jumped all over Lanka, and he set everything ablaze. And then he jumped back to where Ramchandra was. So, quite a dramatic scene. And the next verse is here. The next verse says that, and then now they're all getting ready to go capture Sita. Ramchandra, Hanuman, and all the other monkeys and bears and other warriors. So it says, the personality of Godhead, Ramchandra, so they're standing there, being aggrieved by his distant, intimate friend Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravana with red-hot eyes. So he was looking at Lanka with red-hot eyes across the ocean, apparently. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because its family members, the aquatics like sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burnt by the heat of the angry red-hot eyes of the Lord. So he was so angry with what Ravana did that it said he's burning the aquatics in the ocean because it was like heating up the water. So they're all there. I was thinking of one of our temple devotees, one of our brahmacharis. He's not here now. He used to be here. But we wake up early in the morning, 4 a.m. That's the regulation here at the temple. So one of our brahmacharis, one of our temple devotees, he would wake up early in the morning. You see him at 4 in the morning. He'd be going to the bathroom to get ready, brush his teeth and stuff like that. And he'd give you this look, like he was just so angry. He'd like burn you with his eyes practically. I guess he wasn't used to getting up early in the morning. This frown and just this really intense look. And sometimes he'd be looking at me. I'd be like, "Hey, what's going on? You all right?" And anyways, so that was example in this realm, but Ramchandra's was absolutely transcendental. So when they're there, getting ready to jump over to Lanka, Hanuman's there, again, everybody's there, and they start to throw boulders. And the boulders are creating a bridge to Lanka. That's the way they decided to go. Of course, Ramchandra, he could have just thought about killing Ravana, and then Ravana would have just died. But then what would we have to talk about, right? So they created this bridge, and Hanuman was throwing these big boulders, and then this little squirrel was also throwing little pebbles. So then Hanuman, apparently, he said, in essence, move aside. I'm doing this important work, and you're in the way. So then Ramchandra, he overheard this, and then he told Hanuman, he said that actually what you're doing, what he's doing is the same. I accept it on the same level. Why? Because you're doing your best and he's doing his best. So I accept it as the same. And then he said, by the way, I'm the one who's making these boulders float. Ramchandra said that. Because it wasn't Hanuman's power that was making them float, it was Ramchandra's power. So this is, you could say, one of the merciful aspects of Ramchandra, that he doesn't consider our material qualifications, one's material qualifications, but he considers one's devotion. Therefore, Krishna or Ramchandra, they have a name, Bhaktavatsal, which means very affectionately inclined to their devotees. So, in the example, there's Hanuman. I mean, materially speaking, he's a monkey. There's Jatayu, he's a vulture. I mean, when anybody thinks of a beautiful bird, usually they don't think about a vulture. You want to know why? Because what a lion eats, such as, or attacks, such as whatever, this animal, that animal, lion finishes having dinner, and vultures come down and finish the rest. So, in other words, materially speaking, it's not a high position. That was Jatayu was in. And then squirrels and so on. So there's so many personalities that he's not looking at their material qualifications, but he's looking at their spiritual qualifications. And then the last verse, which we'll read tonight. So this last verse, they make it over there, and then it says, when Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess, and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with the very air of his life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramchandra, the personality of Godhead. So you can imagine the tingling sound of the bow of Ramchandra. So he was laughing and thinking himself so great, and no one can defeat him. And all of this was stopped by the tingling sound of the bow of Ramchandra. So he killed him. So last thing I'll say is that Krishna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appears in different forms and different ages to give us mercy. So we have Krishna come in, which Gaudiya Vaishnavas say that Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So Krishna is coming, and then Ramchandra, or Ramchandra, then Krishna. And then in present times we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna, and Prabhu would say who's Ramchandra. Come again. So they don't want us to suffer, they want us to be happy. And therefore they come to this world, or else they have no business coming to this world. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to propagate the chanting of Hare Krishna, and the idea is to take full advantage, which we'll be doing very soon, and in this way make our lives successful. All right, so does anyone have any question? One or two questions by any chance? Or comments? Thank you. Oh, thank you. I couldn't do it without all of you because I needed someone to talk to. So, worked out for both of us, or all of us, I hope. Okay. Yes.
The story with the little squirrel
Yes.
throwing the little pebbles.
Yeah.
Do you think that extends within the greater realm In other words, does Krishna accept even our smallest attempts?
Yes.
If that's the best I can do, is that the best I can do?
Yeah. So she's asking, does a squirrel, the example of the squirrel, how does it relate to our lives? And does it relate, is it the same? Does Ramchandra or Krishna accept our endeavors, even though? So yes, that's true. Everybody gives. One person's best is maybe different than another person's best. Just like someone may have $1 million. Maybe it's not that much nowadays, or let's say $5 billion. $5 billion. So they have $5 billion, and then they give 10,000 to the temple. Now, if everybody knew he had $5 billion and he gave 10,000 to the temple, or she, they think, oh, this person's a bit of a cheapskate. So, but maybe somebody's making, I don't know, $20,000 a year, and they give $10,000. Think, oh, wow, it's pretty good. They give half of what they owned, what they've made. So one person's best is different from another person's best. So that we have to see, though. We can't say, oh, well, my best, maybe our best isn't our best. So we have to analyze that and be honest. But, yeah, it is true that Ramchandra or Krishna, they'll accept our sincere attempts, even if others don't. So therefore, Krishna or Ramchandra, they're ocean of mercy. Karuna Sindhu, Karuna mercy, Sindhu ocean. So one of the interesting things about an ocean is that you can't measure the content of the ocean. No one's done that yet. And I don't think they'll ever do that. You can't measure the content of the ocean. It's just too vast. So similarly, you cannot measure the content of the mercy of Krishna or Ramchandra. So it means they're very kind. They'll accept. Even others may not, but they will. So we could be happy about that. I'm happy about that. Does anyone have any last comment or question? Yes. Mricha, yeah. It said that even Ramchandra at times wasn't completely acting as if he was the personality of Godhead. He was taking the role of a king and like a human. But I don't remember if Mricha, does anyone remember if Mricha was knowing Ramchandra was God? Yeah. Yeah, so we do know that Mricha understood that if Ravana takes up a challenge, he's going to be finished. So apparently Mricha had at least some understanding. He may have full understanding that he's personality of Godhead, but all right.